Hey everyone, welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged. Like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. We've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas. Naively, I thought that some of the PEBCAX stories on here were somewhat uncommon. Naively. I've sent some brand new in-box monitors out for some work-from-home employees. Of the 10 sent out, 2 of them called in, miffed at the new monitors and requesting new ones. I'll review one of the calls. User is user, and I'm SR. User: I can't believe this. This thing is broken out of the box. You have to send a new one out. I bet the mail guy dropped it and broke it. Me: let me remote connect and see what's going on. Less than a minute of being connected, the device does not see the monitor attached. Me: looks like the computer doesn't see it. Does the power button on a monitor have a backlight at all? User: I don't think so. Yeah, I'm pressing it and it's not changing colors. Okay, the monitor, is it plugged into the wall? User: no, that's not a thing. My USB monitor plugged right into my computer. Me: oh, it's a thing. Do you have the extra cable from the original box? User: no. Me: this sums it up, really. I've had my first call in a long time that made me literally facepalm. Happy Monday. The second user was the same issue, but they had the power cable. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and out of touch. I didn't even know there was just a plain USB monitor, quite honestly. I thought they all needed some sort of external power. Tell me how wrong I am down in the comments down below. Hello, are you there? I'm still green at Help Desk. It's been about a month since I started. I was on a call with a user who couldn't connect a second monitor to their laptop. During said call, user was dead silent. I checked in and no response. Being in the middle of verification steps, I didn't want to hang up as I saw the call was still connected, so I reached out again, and again, and again. About an hour passes with no progress before I finally ask, "Did you accidentally mute yourself?" Turns out he did, and he was almost yelling at me to get me to respond. He was about to hang up thinking it was a new phone issue. Moral of the story, expect the user to do dumb stuff. I didn't, and wasted an hour. Yep, whether it's somebody else or even myself, I always expect it to be the simplest, dumbest thing that I just didn't think to look at. What's wrong with my CPU? One thread is 0.1 degree higher than the other. This happened way back in 2016. I used to be the lead tech in a company in the north of Scotland.
Look at the size of that boy's head. Shh. I'm not kidding, it's like an orange on a toothpick.
To a custom computer builder, and we were having an event to show off some of the projects that we had made. Wish I'd kept the phone with these messages on it. So here we go. I'm talking with an entitled guest who has turned up at the event, and he's telling me that he's looking for a custom PC. We go through what he wants, and I go through my portfolio on the builds we've done as well to show him all the overclocked gaming PCs. I show off all the prices on an Excel spreadsheet. Entitled guest looks at it and says, "Well, I could build it for a lot less." Duh. Of course you can, as I don't work for free. And then EG goes on. "You get parts a lot cheaper than I get, as you're a business." We're a custom builder and we don't make enough computers to get a bulk discount. Plus in the tech industry, it doesn't work like that. I apologize and wish him well. I thought all's well and that was the end of it. Wrong. The entitled guest begins to send me texts and it goes as follows. Entitled guest: are you free? Me: sure, what's up? Entitled guest: I built a system that I was talking about with you. Me: cool, how's it going? Entitled guest: there's something wrong with it. Oh, that's not good. So what's wrong with it? Entitled guest: the CPU's overheating. Me: shocked and concerned. How do you know it's overheating? Entitled guest: I have a hardware monitor and it's telling me that thread 10 is 60.1 degrees Celsius and the rest is 60 degrees Celsius. Me: I facepalm. If any techs out there know overheating on any CPU is 90 degrees Celsius and above. I calmly ask, okay, how are you cooling the CPU? Entitled guest: I'm using a custom cooling solution. Do you think that delidding would help? Delidding is when you remove the metal plate on the top of the CPU and replace the TIM, thermal interface material, with either liquid metal or thermal compound. Me: I wouldn't, as it looks just like it's within the program and the sensor's error gradient. Entitled guest stops texting me and that was the end of it. Sorry that there's no extra drama, everyone. P.S. Sorry for all the technical blurb.
I'm not kidding, that boy's head's like Sputnik.
I can say, as somebody who's only ever built a couple PCs and never a gaming PC, I probably wouldn't even understand that when I was looking at the temperature gradients. If one shows 60 degrees Celsius and the other one shows 60.01, I may have questions about it. Should they be different? Is there, a margin of error, things like that? But, I'm not sure I would be overly concerned. Cooking up a CEO. Complaint is a CEO's phone is acting weird. We had a complaint of all the lights on a phone that started coming on and ringer occasionally making noise whenever the CEO left his office. If he was sitting in his chair, it worked just fine. Replaced the phone, same problem would happen. Replaced it again, same problem. Proceeded to replace the wiring, same problem. Higher level tech was sent out and checked everything. He sat in the chair and the problem went away. Got up, moved, and the problem manifested itself. He looked out the window at nearby buildings and could see a microwave antenna pointed in their direction. He went to that business and found out they had put in a point-to-point microwave to connect their offices in different buildings that they had line of sight to, except they could just make it by the building between them. CEO was in the corner office of that building, and the microwave was just clipping his office. There was enough power to light the lights on the phone, so the CEO was getting microwave energy whenever he was in his office. He was slowly being cooked on low power. He was a bit steamed when he found out. Pun intended. I don't know what the regulations are for microwave antennas in that instance when you're on commercial high-rise buildings and things. Let me know down below. Does anybody know? Aren't there guidelines where you can't have it pointed directly at certain buildings at a certain distance, or is that not a thing? And was it really dangerous to the CEO? If there was enough energy to light the lights on his desk phone, was it really doing him any harm, when he was blocking that signal? Let me know. My fourth screen won't work. I work in desktop support for a large logistics company. A lady called me the other day wanting to explore why her fourth monitor wouldn't work. So I remote into the computer and immediately take a look at what card she has in the computer. I can no longer remember exactly what the card was, but I threw its name into Google, went to the manufacturer website, and saw in its hardware specs that it supported a maximum of 3 screens. Boom, there's your answer. Your hardware is limiting your experience. That didn't shake her. Ping. Open MS Teams. Can we try updating drivers? I have the CD for the computer. Me. No, that'll target the entire machine and it isn't a driver problem. Some time goes by and my headset rings again. I answer. It's her. This time she's wondering why only one of her screens is working as she replaced the graphics card. I have absolutely no idea where she got it from, but now she wants to update these drivers to make it work. I explained that there are limitations to these things and that whatever she stuck in there is more than likely not compatible with the rest of her system. Well, can you check? Soon after this, I just explained that 3 screens will be her maximum, and she hated it.
Hated it.
I love it when people want to make things do jobs that they're not intended to do. How is this even rational? That'd be like me wanting to put mud and tires on my old Chevy Impala and wanting to go down and go through the mud bogs with it. It's just not intended to do that. A very frustrating ticket. This is my first submission and I have no excuse for grammar, typing errors, or the other things that seem to make for a preface here. Many years ago, when band printers and AS400s were a thing, a customer had an intermittent issue where their printer would cease to deliver reams of paper filled with columns of text and figures that no one would read, and start to deliver page upon page of random characters that no one could read. Typically, the error would occur. Customer calls up, tech dispatched to finds no fault. Tech attempts varied steps involving mechanical tools and dust removal agents, of the homing sensors and other diagnostics based on the hyper-informative 7-segment LED display on the main board that said 0. Checked that the connection to the serial comms device was extra snug and then stood around for a suitable length of time observing the printer operation before leaving with the advice to call again if and when it happened the next time. It would occur for a couple of days and then nothing for a week or 2. No real discernible pattern. Now this was in the office of some stockbrokers or accountants, some mob who passed for royalty in the early 90s Sydney, and their office was in a tower with views over Sydney Harbour, and in particular Circular Quay. Quay. Let me know in the comments down below. For those of you who have not been blessed with a visit to our beautiful harbour city, Circular Quay is the bit between the Harbour Bridge and the Sydney Opera House where you may have seen the New Year's fireworks broadcast from. It also has the international passenger terminal where cruise ships dock. They were just P&O ocean liners back then. The printer was in a small room with a window that overlooked this view, so it wasn't an unpleasant spot to gaze from while observing the printer with its snugly connected serial cable into the serial comms device while the printer disgorged perfectly aligned columns of text on sheet after sheet of heavily processed tree. Time passed, and though there had been a report or two in the meantime, a month later I caught this ticket again and returned to spread my tools out to give the impression I could help. Check the diagnostics on the hyper-informative 7-segment LED display on the main board, still 0. Polished the capacitors, read a story to the serial comms unit, and settled in to observe, when I noticed it was the same ship docked as the last time I was there. To cut this short, too late, you say? Some other techs and I agreed that it was possible the radar of the ship was interfering with the comms to the printer and screwing the data flow, and that the radar would only be active on arrival and departure, but not while docked. The next time the customer called to report the issue, they confirmed the P&O Saucy Sailor was back in port, and I suggested they needed to get their comms people to get better shielded link or comms device in there. I'm assuming that worked as the calls for that issue stopped. This isn't too much different than that high-rise story, so, okay, radar on a ship. Again, if it's interfering with the signal to the printer, how much energy is that throwing out? And again, is it microwave energy? Is it just radio? I mean, what kind of energy is that? Somebody let me know down below. I know one of you guys knows. Teach us. Retired professor with way too much time. Another story from the early days of my sysadmin career. This was at a fairly large public university in the US. There were a couple of retired professors who liked to come by every couple of days, so we had an office set aside with an older desktop system for them to use, mostly so they could feel like they were still part of things. These guys were universally liked since they were always super nice and appreciative of anything we could do for them. One of these, we'll call him Bob, used to ride his bike in every couple of days. Usually he'd stop by my office for a couple minutes to shoot the breeze. One day he stopped me in the hallway and asked if we have any computers that still have 5¼ inch floppy drives. Oh my god. That kind of floored me since I was pretty sure we didn't even have any systems with the 3.5 inch floppies. We were barely using optical media at this time. Almost everything was done over the network or a USB stick. I told him I didn't think so, but why did he ask? Turns out he was cleaning out his garage and had found boxes and boxes of old floppies and wanted to go through them to see what was on them. I'm kind of sensing a huge project I could get sucked into, helping him with his stroll down memory lane. So I ask a few questions. Me: how long have those been in your garage? Bob: 10 to 15 years. Me: so they've been through that many summer and winter cycles? This was in the Southwest. Garage temperature could get up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer and below freezing in the winter. Bob: well, yeah. Me: there's a good chance they're mostly unreadable without sending them to a professional data recovery company, which could cost a lot. Bob: oh, I don't want to do that. I just want to check myself. What do you think I should do? Me: do you think there's anything like social security numbers or stuff like that? Bob: no, probably old programs and things like that. Me: I'd start throwing one box a week into my trash until they were gone. Bob, looking horrified: I can't do that. There might be something important on them. Me: Bob, you said these boxes have been in your garage for 10 to 15 years. You've survived this long without them. Don't you think maybe they can't be too important? Bob throws his head back and laughs. I guess you're right. I didn't hear any more about this project. I'm hoping he gave it up, but if not, more power to him. I understand both sides here. Like Bob, I myself am a pack rat. My big thing is old tech, tons of extra cables to things that no longer exist, and even if they did, I'm not sure I would know what they went to. Tools, tons of old tools. Some that don't even function anymore. And there's always that thought in the back of your mind, well, someday I might fix them. Someday I might have a use for this. It's not reality, folks. I know it in my brain. The rational side of my brain knows that I should just give away or sell what's good, throw away what's bad, and clear my life of this clutter. So far, the irrational side is the one winning, though. A train isn't good for coax. I worked for an ISP/cable company years ago, and this one stands out. We had a ticket for an install to a house in a rural area. This house had a train track that ran behind the home, and the box on the pole was on the opposite side of the track as the home. It was a newer area that we serviced, and therefore it required a drop to the house from the pole. A tech was sent out for the install and realized the problem. Proceeds to call it in. Tech wasn't certified to hang a line on the pole. Supervisor instructed to continue with the install. He did. 5 o'clock. CSX comes by and runs over the coax that was laid across the tracks. Of course, the tech was sent back out again and was instructed to replace the drop. He did. 5 o'clock. CSX comes through and slices it again. After a few more of these work orders, it was put in to elevate the drop. He did. About 6 feet off the ground. 5 o'clock. CSX comes through and grabs the coax, proceeds to rip the wiring out of the house, exploding the cable modem on the wall, knocking the PC off the desk and TVs off stands. Damages to the bricks on the house and other. Cable company had to pay for repairs to the bricks in the house and all damaged equipment. The customer had full package for free as long as they lived there. All channels, fastest internet, etc. I kept up with the documentation on the account while this was going on, and I'm glad I did. This was before smartphones, so I couldn't get the proof. Didn't carry a cell phone at all back then. Best story I've ever ran into while working tech support. Almost hard to believe, but 100% happened. Southeast USA. I'm not even sure where to begin with this. I'm sure the instructions for the tech to drop the line were accurate, and to raise the line, and maybe he did go 6 feet. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that the train hooked it and took it just like he said. Where things get a little fuzzy for me is when he says that it ripped everything out of the house and destroyed the brick walls and all that stuff. I can't imagine coax is that strong. I mean, it's strong, don't get me wrong, but you would think that it would come off the connection on the pole first, or the connection on the side of the house, because most of the time that drop's not going to go from the pole into the house to the equipment without some sort of breaks or splitters in between. I don't know, man. I'm having a hard time with this one. Let me know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've enjoyed this content, would you do me a favor? Would you give this video a like? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and maybe click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories. See ya!